You are watching WPTV.
Welcome back to the desk. We have Josh, Joe, Jimmy, and Steven here, as yesterday was opening day around the league, and that means baseball is officially back. And let's start with the Mets here. They traveled to Washington, beat the Nationals 2-0. Josh, take us through this. What were your thoughts on the Mets win?
Well, the Mets have won their past 5 opening days. They're 37-21 all time. Let's take a look at the highlights of this game. Nothing is more pleasing than Scherzer versus DeGrom to start the opening day for both teams. Both are Cy Young candidates again this year. DeGrom outlasted Scherzer this game, but the only thing I was nervous about is the Mets did not get enough hits again. I know Robinson Cano, what do you know? Welcome back to New York, big fella. He gets a home run to give the Mets the lead. But again, they only had 2 hits going into the 8th. By then, DeGrom was out and Scherzer was still in. You had to get more hits. You had to get more runs because DeGrom cannot go again with a low ERA and a short amount of wins.
Joe, what did you see?
What I like to see is the new guys coming up big for the Mets. The Mets went out this offseason. They got Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz. Cano drove in both runs for the Mets. Diaz shut the door in the 9th. Brody Van Wagenen's moves are paying off real quick.
And now, Steven, I know you wanted to talk about the pitching from the Mets.
So Jacob deGrom, the main man, NL Cy Young this year, arguably the NL MVP last year. Let's take a look at his numbers from 2018. The win-loss was obviously where it was kind of ipso facto. 10-9, a 1.7 ERA. That's historical numbers. Only 152 hits given up, only 10 home runs allowed, and he pitched over 215 innings. Just signed a fresh 5-year and $137 million extension. The Mets were very smart to lock him up long-term. Did well yesterday. Solid 6 innings, over 10 Ks. The only issue I see, you brought it up, again, is he going to get that run support? Only 2 runs. Luckily, like you said, Joe, the bullpen was a little revamped by Brody Van Wagenen's moves. Edwin Diaz, solid moves, and that'll help DeGrom's numbers, hopefully, for this year.
Moving Familia into the bullpen, not as a closer now, is really going to help the Mets.
Absolutely.
Now let's move from one side of New York to the other. Yankees hosted the Orioles, had a big win, 7-2. I know, Jimmy, you were at the game. Steven, we'll go to you first. What did you see from the game?
Well, let's take a look at the box score and the highlights because it was just a perfect day for baseball. The greatest closer in history, throwing out the first pitch. Yes, Justin Valentovic, he is the greatest closer in history. But it was just, the sun was shining, the balls were flying off of the bat of Luke Voit and Greg Bird. And the one thing I learned is that the Yankees bullpen, it's legit. We knew this coming into the year, it's legit. They had a lot of guys throw yesterday, Chapman, Adam Ottavino, like you said, Jamie, before, and, Zach Britton. The Yankees team looked very solid. They should have won the game. If they lost, then you could have been some cause for concern. But it was just a perfect opening day for the Yankees season, especially with injuries.
Jimmy, what did you see from the stands?
Yeah, well, like Steve said, it was a perfect day for baseball. The weather was amazing, and the Yankees just got off to a great start. Tanaka looked amazing on the mound yesterday. And, again, I know what everyone's going to say. It's the Orioles. Well, they took care of business. What they're supposed to do, against a team like the Orioles. They put up 7 runs. Luke Voit got the scoring going. He's out to prove something this year that he's not fluke. Overall, Aaron Judge looked good. Their plate discipline, for the most part, was good. Everyone was making contact. It was just a good overall day for this team and a great start to the season.
Joe?
Yeah, Jimmy, as you mentioned, Aaron Judge, when it comes to the Yankees, Aaron Judge is always going to be the guy that you look at. Yesterday, he didn't hit the big home run that we were all expecting, but he came out, he had a solid single, took a couple walks. As you look at his stats from last year, he was injured, but he still put up 27 homers, hit a .278 average. I'm going to look for Judge to do big things, and yesterday's performance is indicative of that.
Now, the season's obviously very young.
Very young, very young.
But it's never too soon to talk about what players could be primed for a breakout year. Josh, we'll go to you first. Who's your one to watch?
I could be a little biased here. Sticking with the home team for me, it's going to be Michael Conforto. I mean, we know he had that awful neck surgery and shoulder back in 2017. Last year, he had a solid season. As you can see his stats here with 28 home runs, 82 RBIs. The only thing that bothers me is that batting average, 243. I think that could creep up a little bit towards the 300s this year. Last year in the 153 games that he played, he struck out 159 times. We can't have that again for him because that's the reason why his average is so low. If you could take away some of those strikeouts and get on base a little bit more, Conforto's going to be an all-time great for the Mets.
Joe?
Well, I'm also going to stick to my bias, just like Josh. I'm going to go with Gleyber Torres. Last year, Gleyber in his rookie year, he had .271, had 24 home runs, 77 RBIs. Those are great numbers, for a rookie. Before he got hurt, he was hitting very well, came up with a .940 OPS, a lot of huge moments, and he's going to get a chance to play his natural position in shortstop with Gregorius out. People forget he's only 22. He's going to have a great season for the Yankees this year.
Jimmy?
For me, it's someone that the Yankees haven't really gotten too familiar with, but I've already fallen in love with this man. It's Luke Voit. This man, you cannot you cannot ask him to do more than he's already done. Last season, he batted .333, 15 home runs, and 33 RBIs, 689 slugging. You know how long he played last year? 1 month. And then the playoffs. And for him to come in when Greg Bird was really struggling, we got him. Cashman traded almost nothing for him. We traded our worst relief pitcher for him, and we got him. He's been an absolute stud, and he's out to prove something this year, and he's off to a great start with his home run yesterday. He's off to prove that he's not a fluke this year. I don't think he's a fluke. I think he could honestly be an all-star this year. That's how much faith I have in this guy.
Steven.
I'm going to go with someone that is not living in New York currently. Brave center fielder Ronald Acuna Jr., the 21-year-old phenom, last year got called up, hit .293, 127 hits, 26 home runs, 82 RBIs, and 18 stolen bases. He is a five-tool player. He's broke the record last year for most leadoff home runs by anybody in history. Kid's only 21 years old. He's a five-tool player, tremendous defender, and I'm not going to lie, I think he easily in the MVP running this year. Absolutely.
It's crazy to see players that are around our age doing things that we can't do. Like my hips popped when I woke up this morning. Well, that's all the time we have on the Diamond, but we'll be talking March Madness basketball right after this. Keep it locked.